Thank you. Can you all hear me in the back?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, good. I'd like to say that every time I witness something like this going on, it moves me. People getting together to make a better county, better state, better nation. It's something we should all celebrate. I'm standing here because I'm running for the honor of representing my House District 1 in Sioux City, a seat that's currently held by a gentleman named Wes Whitehead. If you want to know more about my campaign, you can visit www.taylorforiowhouse.com. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, but I've heard that if you visit that website, it speeds up your computer's performance. Again, I'm not sure if this is true, but also I've heard that if you donate online, that you won't receive another email that says to send money to a Nigerian bank account. So if you'll try that and let me know, I'd appreciate it. I say that I'm moved when I witness something like this because I spent a year of my life living in communist Vietnam, where there weren't such freedoms, where my wife who grew up there had to check on a form that she was Protestant, which ensured that she would never get a job, where she had to declare that her father fought beside Kansas and Iowa boys, and he died for that in 1986 in a communist prison camp. She had to check that on a box too when she graduated, where elections are a ruse and attending church can mean trouble. I lived there. I witnessed 20 girls in a single dorm room where simple fruit was a grateful meal. We live in the greatest nation. We really do. And I know because I saw for a year some of the brightest people in that country come to me and say, "Teacher, how can I come to America?" In an even deeper way, I saw old men say in a whisper that they illegally listened to the radio to hear a man named Ronald Reagan who gave them hope that they too could get out from under the Iron Curtain and live in freedom. And I had an old man in what I call Saigon mention to me that he knows that the party that gathers today in this room, the Republican Party, is the party of strength. I'm a West Side kid and the son of two lifelong educators, wonderful people named Gerald and Diane. I taught high school in New York where I graduated from. I went overseas for a year to serve with a Christian service organization where I met my wife in Vietnam. And we had a decision upon ending that year in Vietnam where we would live. We talked about living in New York or living where we have some family down in Dallas. But we made the decision to come to Sioux City. There's no place I'd rather be. I love my country and this historic Old River town, but that said, I seek change. That's kind of the buzzword in this campaign season. I'd like to see Highway 20 finally finished. I'd like to see us experiment. I'd like to see us experiment with new technology, nuclear power. I'd like to see us produce math and science students who can compete with their global counterparts and who stay in Iowa. But let's be honest about it. Not all change is good. Not all change is progress. Our liberal friends have had the opportunity to change things, and they have, but that change, I argue, is not for the better. We have schools that have the audacity, I know, I teach at North High School, to have the audacity to graduate students from our high schools that cannot read at a 5th grade level and cannot locate the Pacific Ocean on a map. That's change. It's not progress. 40% of our college students will need at least one remedial course. And they say it's compassion to socially promote. Well, as a teacher, let me tell you something. It's not compassion. Compassion must always be coupled with truth, with common sense. And real compassion is supporting a student who will have marketable skills when you graduate from high school and be successful in this world. That's compassion. Friends on the other side of the aisle don't demand high state standards, as Senator Wick discussed. And now we are 18th in the nation on our test scores. That's change. It's not progress. Our local districts allow taxpayer money to be spent on administrative position after administrative position, and our students lack materials. That's change but not progress. And in the next 8 years, we are at a crisis, folks. We are going to need 3 million new teachers. We have 3.2 million currently. Just to give you a picture of this, next year at 29 years old, I will be the senior member of the English department at North High. And yet 30% of our teachers get out of the profession in the first few years. Why? Because we really don't have discipline at our high schools. We have taken... pushed the mention of God out of our schools. We said the character doesn't really matter all that much, that being rigorous and strict isn't an integral part of high school. Our liberal friends have sold the idea that a counselor, a principal, a free breakfast, a free lunch, sexual education can replace a mom and a dad in the home, and let me tell you something, it doesn't. My opponent and others have taken government to places I never dreamed it could be in the state of Iowa. 150 people in Des Moines can tell our businesses who can and cannot smoke. They can tell us the union to pay. They're spending $1 million, $1 billion in increases over the last 2 years, and we will foot that bill. Overtaxing working families in Iowa, that's change but not progress. Our Anything Goes friends also say that 2 Iowa State students named Tim and Sean can get married. They think it should be decided by unelected judges, despite the fact that the majority of Iowans say that ought not be. Now, if we don't stand in the gap on this issue, we will lose this for generations. It will become precedents in the court. Eventually, I believe it will become culturally intolerant and hateful to say that a 1-to-1 ratio is what defines marriage. And so not only will we have same-sex marriage, we're going to have a myriad of things that we never even anticipated.